Winner, winner, no winner. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be my thoughts and impressions regarding the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 73. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this episode had a couple of surprises in it that were certainly unexpected, and I'm also very happy because this episode seems to confirm a personal theory of mine to be correct, and we'll talk about all that soon enough. So without risk of further rambling, let's get on to the actual episode. So the episode begins with a recap of where we left off last week, and begins with Bowman actually saying to Playmaker, that move was unlike you, and it's because I instinct. And we learn from Bowman through a story that he's telling us that I is the only Ignis that has instinct. The other Ignises may have free will because Dr. Kogami created them using studies, but I is the only one that has free will and instinct, and they believe the instinct came from Playmaker. But nonetheless, it's an uncertainty, something that doesn't sit well with Lightning or any of his subordinates here, so of course I's got to be eliminated for that. And we also learned during this time that I now thinks he's superior because he's the only one that has instinct, but Bowman's like, no, you're not the greatest. In fact, the other Ignises just learned instinct from you. And yeah, so after crushing I, he goes on to continue the duel, and this is where the biggest mistake Playmaker made of the duel comes into effect. He left Bowman standing with less than 1,000 life points, which allows Bowman to use Storm Access, and although almost incinerating his arm in the process, much like Revolver did at the Tower of Hanoi, Bowman is able to pull a random Link monster out of the Data Storm and add it to his extra deck via Storm Access. So now Bowman has this incredibly fierce monster from an incredibly strong Data Storm, and he summons it with a very unconventional method. He actually Link summons a Link 1 monster, and then uses his Property Flash Trap card's effect. What this does is it destroys his monster and the trap card plus the counters that was on it, and Bowman can special summon a Link monster with a number of Link arrows equivalent to the number of counters that were on the trap card when it was destroyed or banished. And so there were 4 counters on Property Flash when he banished it. So he's able to bring out a Link 4 monster. This Link 4 monster is of course the one he just pulled from the Data Storm, and it's Link 4 Rousing Hydrodrive Monarch. It has 3,000 attack points and a very devastating ability. That ability is called Judgment Dice, and basically what Judgment Dice means is depending on what the dice roll is, Bowman can destroy the equivalence attribute. So Bowman rolls his first roll of Judgment Dice, says I'm going to place it all on luck, and he manages to play, or rather roll the dice. He gets the dark attribute. So all of the dark attribute monsters on Playmaker side of the field, Cyverse Magician and Cyverse Witch, are destroyed. Playmaker takes 500 points of damage for each card destroyed. So that's 1,000 points of damage. Bowman then moves in for a direct attack, but Playmaker's able to save himself by banishing his 2 equipped cards, Resume Mace and Grid Wand, to the graveyard, or banish them rather, I guess I should say. Banishes those 2 equipped cards and Dotscaper, and is able to bring back Link Karibo. Now Link Karibo's effect allows Playmaker to banish it and lower the attack of a monster to 0 for the rest of the turn. So Bowman's unable to finish Playmaker off this turn, and he ends his turn. And that's when Playmaker's big comeback and the other big surprise of the episode come into play. Playmaker goes up to the Data Storm and he uses his new updated skill called Neo Storm Access, which I don't know why the name changed because it's essentially Storm Access. Nothing really has changed about it, except a blinding light rather. And Playmaker uses Neo Storm Access. He's able to get a new monster from the Data Storm, and he actually brings out a new Link monster called Cyverse Wicked Kid and Cyverse Synchron. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And Backup Secretary. These 3 monsters are on the field. Bowman tries to destroy the 2 dark monsters, Cyverse Synchron, Cyverse Wicked Kid, with Judgment Dice, but it doesn't work because Playmaker is able to save himself with an ability on that. So these 3 monsters are here. We see Playmaker's Synchro Summon. Playmaker Synchro summons for the first time in this duel, and he actually brings out Cyverse Quantum Dragon. And this thing just looks bad. Yeah, it's just so bad looking. I love this card. It's cool. It's well designed. The animation was great. It comes out, and its ability basically returns Hydro Drive Monarch back to Bowman's hand, but since it's a Link monster, it goes back to the extra deck, as we learned during that duel way back when with Revolver. So now Bowman's field is clear, and because this effect was used successfully, Playmaker can attack again. So as Playmaker's making the attack with Cyber's Quantum Dragon, Bowman actually activates Hydro Drive Scabbard's effect from the graveyard, which basically means because he had the 6 different attribute cards in his graveyard at the same time, he can half the damage, and they're going to both take the same amount. So the duel essentially ends in a draw. No winner. Bowman and Haru manage to escape, and Lightning manages to escape Soulburner. And yeah, we see the duel end. Playmaker is now really concerned about Bowman because he's an evolving AI, a truly fearsome opponent. Soulburner basically just withdrew because he didn't want to put up with Bit and Boot again. Can't really blame him for that. So yeah, we see all this craziness go on. We see Playmaker and Soulburner return to the real world, and we actually go back to Kusangi's food truck. And this is where the end of the episode takes the major turn, and this is where my little personal theory was proven right. So we're back at the hot dog stand, and a customer arrives. But not just any customer, Ryokan arrives. And he's sitting there at the table, and he basically tells Kusangi, "I'm glad you survived." And that's when Kusangi realizes, oh, Revolver's here, and Playmaker comes busting out of the food truck demanding to know why Revolver is there. And Revolver basically came to warn Playmaker. He basically says, they're going to try to do to you what they did to Jin. Kusangi, they're going to try to attack you here in the real world. And he gives Playmaker a new program that the Knights of Hanoi have created, a protection program, which will basically prevent Lightning from doing to Playmaker what he did to Jin. And Ai is telling Playmaker, don't take this program, or he's telling Yusaku, don't take this program. The Knights of Hanoi created it. You can't trust them. But, of course, Yusaku and his connection to Revolver, he decides to take the program and insert it into his dual disc. And even Ai says, he gets a chill down his spine. He's like, this is a powerful program. And they're still left kind of questioning why Ryokan or Revolver is doing this. And he basically turns to Playmaker and says, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That is all I will say. So pretty much it confirmed, and this is where my fan theory kicked in, because I had speculated from the beginning that we would kind of see in Revolver Ryokan a little bit of what we saw in Kaiba during the main Duel Monster series, where he was an antagonist for the first part of it, and he is a rival, an enemy, so to speak. But when everything hits the fan, he's going to team up with Playmaker. The Knights of Hanoi are going to help Playmaker try to take down the Light Ignis, Lightning, and Windy. And that looks like that's going to be the case here, because pretty much the Knights of Hanoi are going to back off from Playmaker. Under Revolver's orders, they're going to let Playmaker handle this and take the lead. But the Knights of Hanoi, of course, are going to help protect Playmaker. And yeah, it's basically working towards a common goal, and that is seeing Lightning defeated. And before Revolver takes off, however, he tells Playmaker that although they're shaky allies right now, when this is all over with Lightning, Revolver will return and will settle the score with Playmaker. So that's probably how the series is going to end. We're going to watch Revolver and Playmaker go at it again, probably very similar to the beginning of the series, and that's how it's going to end, but that's just my own personal prediction. So anyway, with all that being said, really good episode all the way around, really enjoyed it, well animated, Yusaku's Synchro Summon, and of course, Revolver and the Knights of Hanoi kind of reluctantly joining the side of Playmaker. It was a good episode. With all of that being said, overall, I give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Really excited to see what happens with Bowman down the line. Really excited to see how this shaky alliance between Playmaker and the Knights of Hanoi are going to work out. And really excited to just see what's next overall in Vrains. So with all of that being said, in the comments section down below, let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on next week's episode where we see Go going after the Earth Ignis and Aqua? Just let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.